Only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it.
He called himself an idealist without illusions. John Fitzgerald Kennedy was a Massachusetts Democrat, born into wealth, but as a Kennedy raised to public service and to duty. His upbringing had also instilled in him a drive to succeed, a will to win that would shape his experience with illness, war, and politics over the course of his life. He was Irish Catholic, born the second son of Joseph and Rose Kennedy, and the grandson of two Boston politicians. His father was a millionaire by age 35, and the 9 Kennedy children grew up comfortably, summering in Cape Cod and vacationing during the winter in Florida. They also grew up competitive, and as a boy, Kennedy's biggest rival was his older brother Joe. His childhood, though, was mostly marked by illness, and Kennedy, who would always be in poor health, spent weeks at a time recuperating in bed. He entered Harvard in 1936, and his junior year served as secretary to his father, who'd been named U.S. ambassador to Great Britain. A year later, Kennedy published his senior thesis on England's response to World War II. Titled Why England Slept, it became a bestseller. The war took the life of his brother Joe in 1944, but cast Kennedy as a hero. He joined the Navy in 1941 and was stationed in the South Pacific when a Japanese destroyer collided with his patrol torpedo boat. Kennedy won a Purple Heart for saving the life of a crew member and for his role in securing rescue. 3 years later, in 1946, he entered politics, running for a seat in the U.S. House. His father's financial support, combined with the legwork of his siblings, helped his victory, and Kennedy went on to be re-elected twice before winning a U.S. Senate seat in 1952. The year he entered the Senate, Kennedy married Jacqueline Bouvier, a Washington socialite he'd met at a dinner party. Like Kennedy, she too had been raised amid East Coast wealth and privilege, and their wedding was the social event of the season. They would have 3 children, Caroline, John, and Patrick, who died as an infant. After his marriage, Kennedy's career continued its rapid ascent. He was nearly a vice presidential candidate in 1956, and 4 years later won his party's nomination for president, going on to defeat Republican challenger Richard Nixon by the slightest of margins. The nation took notice of the Kennedys' youth and glamour. At 43, Kennedy was the youngest president ever elected, and many Americans found his high spirits contagious. They also liked his sense of humor, and he became known for his off-the-cuff remarks. He called Washington, D.C. a city of Southern efficiency and Northern charm, and once noted that his biggest surprise upon entering office was to discover, quote, that things were just as bad as we'd been saying they were. 3 months after assuming office, Kennedy found himself embroiled in the aftermath of a botched military invasion known as the Bay of Pigs. The Berlin Wall went up the following August, and an October standoff with the Soviet Union a year later, dubbed the Cuban Missile Crisis, marked a conflict many feared would lead to nuclear war. "The job is interesting," Kennedy once said, "but the possibilities for trouble are unlimited." He remained optimistic, however, and his administration also saw improvements in civil rights and space exploration, and the founding of the Peace Corps. In November of 1963, Kennedy visited Dallas, Texas, on a trip meant to encourage party unity within the state. The wife of Texas Governor John Connally rode with the president as they traveled to a luncheon in an open motorcade. "Mr. President," she remarked, "you can't say Dallas doesn't love you." Kennedy replied, "That is very obvious." Moments later, he was shot and killed by an assailant believed to be a clerk named Lee Harvey Oswald. Kennedy was 46 and the 4th American president to be assassinated.
I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world.